Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to today's show. The Lunar New Year is coming, and first I would like to wish everyone a happy and a cheerful New Year. And for the workers in China, it's one of the rare opportunities to go back home to meet with their families. For some, it's the only opportunity to spend some time with their family in a whole year. However, for 2 years already, people in China were forced to stay at their places of work due to the strict and unreasonable pandemic policies. It's unbearable when you are told to be apart from your dearest ones for such a long time. And yeah, the CCP likes to suppress free speech, people are not even permitted to complain. The CCP is all about control. Controlling what you can and cannot say, controlling your movement. And all of those restrictions are only becoming worse day by day. And don't forget about their wolf warrior diplomacy that only caused further sanctions and decoupling by the whole world. What the CCP is doing, all of their idiotic policies can only be described as self-castration. The Lunar New Year's celebrations of 2022 only brought the new stability maintenance and freedom suppression. But living a life constantly harassed by the CCP, Chinese people are still doing their best to endure the pain and misery. They're trying their best to cooperate with this idiotic regime. Even while being exploited by the CCP, even when this regime makes them suffer, if they can survive, even under such harsh circumstances, they'll keep on praising the party. That's Stockholm Syndrome as it is. But still, the people can't stand it when those party officials do everything to avoid any responsibility. For example, using one-size-fits-all quarantine policies for people traveling between different regions of China. Most of the times, those policies have nothing in common with science and logic, but simply are measures of population movement control and stability maintenance. Now, the CCP's regime is requiring its citizens to use the Health Code app before entering and leaving public spaces. And even if you comply with all of the requirements, you'll still often be harassed by the officials. It seems the color of your health code, they use different colors, for example, green means healthy, doesn't matter at all. Your freedom of movement will still be restricted. So those health codes don't really matter. Looking at the new reality Chinese people live in, those pro-CCP shills and propaganda YouTubers won't tell you anything about the struggles of ordinary Chinese. The only thing they'll keep on repeating is how great the CCP is at fighting the virus, how many times they perform PCR tests on them, and how efficient China's system is. Efficient in violating human rights and oppressing their people, yeah, that's the efficiency they're talking about. However, there are limits to patience. Let's talk about the recent case when the local government officials really angered people by trying to make the central CCP government happy. Mayor of Tanshan County in Hunan province called those people who tried to return home for the Lunar New Year holidays malicious returnees. For the ordinary Chinese folks, being called a malicious returnee was the last straw. It actually is very offensive, and it finally angered the people who are already so tired of the idiotic and inhumane pandemic policies in China. So, how did the whole situation become so widely discussed in China and abroad? On 20th of January, Mayor of Tanshan County in Hunan province, Dong Hong, said during a video conference, "You want to return home? We'll quarantine you and then detain." And on January 17th, they really detained a person who came from a high-risk COVID area within China. And after the clip from that video conference was published, it really angered the Chinese people. And then Mayor Dong Hong, due to pressure from public opinion, had to make some clarifications to the public. He said that the video from the conference was edited, and he really wanted to say that those who do not obey local prevention policies and maliciously return home will be quarantined and then detained. And then the pro-government internet trolls were trying to whitewash Mayor Tong's behavior, saying that it all has been done as he cares about public health. That actually is very interesting, as Chinese officials like doubling down on everything. Dong Hong called people returning home malicious returnees not once, but twice. Of course, it caused a new wave of anger from the public, and Chinese netizens started making some funny sentences with the word maliciously, meaning if there is something you do that the government doesn't like, or that puts the CCP in a bad light, it's malicious. Like maliciously asking for your salary to be paid, maliciously petitioning against the government, maliciously coming home, and so on. And recently, due to the pandemic, recession, unpaid salaries, boycott of Beijing Winter Olympics and other problems, the CCP probably started to worry that those local officials like Dong Hong might cause trouble to the central government on a larger scale, leading to mass protests by the Chinese people, and therefore decided to cut all ties with the Mayor Tong. The National Health Commission Administration of China immediately issued a statement that during this Lunar New Year holidays the pandemic prevention policies should not be done on a one-size-fits-all principle, nor should they intensify without any restriction. And what they meant by this statement is that it's all the local government's problem. It has nothing to do with the central authorities. The central government didn't want to put such restrictions, it's all Mayor Tong's fault. And on the other hand, the CCP simply wants to lower the degree of social mistrust. There is a social phenomenon in China when the officials are so afraid of taking any responsibility due to being terrified of the central government. And when you see what's going on, you'll realize that it's just the central government cutting ties with the local official. Sooner or later, you'll hear, "We miss him deeply," being said about Mayor Tong.
我们怀念他们。
Therefore, for the CCP, if a foreigner is saying or doing something that makes the CCP unhappy, it's humiliating China. But if the same thing is being done by a Chinese person, then it's malicious behavior. I think that in 2022, maliciously will become a new trendy word in China. Everything that will put the party in a bad light will be labeled as malicious. For example, maliciously asking for your salary to be paid, maliciously filing a petition, maliciously returning home. Everything that seems to be normal in any other country, but if the CCP doesn't want you to do that, they'll accuse you of malicious behavior. And there is no limit for those accusations. For example, people will probably be accused of malicious contraception, malicious traveling abroad, malicious retirement, and so on. Let's see how far the CCP's imagination can go. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please press like, subscribe, and share. This is Stan. I see you in the next one. Happy New Year. Bye bye.